Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Psychology and Spirituality, a Bridge to a Better Life discussion. The Psychology and Spirituality weekly talks are based on the works by Joanna de Angelis, and it is here to offer all of us a safe space to confront, compare, correlate, and expand spirituality concepts from this psychological lens. I am very happy to be here with Dr. Anahy Fonseca and Jussara Korngold because we are celebrating our 100th podcast. So thank you for being here. I want to say hello, Jussara. Hello, Anahy. And hello, all of you who are here with us. Today, we are inviting all of us to dive into an exploration of Joanna de Angelis from the numinous and the sacred that she brought to us. And I would like to just go ahead and get started, if you don't mind, by introducing Joanna de Angelis. If you don't know, or this is the first time you're here with us, it's okay. I would like to just take this opportunity to introduce she, Joanna de Angelis, is a very important figure in Spiritism. She is particularly known for her contributions to the understanding of healing, holistic health, self discovery, but also for introducing this bridge between spiritism and depth psychology. Her teachings to me emphasize the all of us the importance and the need to embark on the journey to self knowledge, personal transformation, and the power of forgiveness. She has also left many, many messages to individuals outside of her psychology collection, and those messages are often inspiring and consoling. And any of us who are in that spiritual journey, we use that very deeply, very importantly, very specifically. And they're here to promote many ideas, but specifically the idea of love, of charity, of service, and in the end, to for all of us to embark in this beautiful pursuit of a more meaningful life. I'm a spiritist, and as a spiritist, reincarnation is a core belief of us, of mine. And so it is very easy for us to come here and to bring the idea that Joanna de Angelis, as a spirit, just like you and me, right? We've had many, multiple incarnations. And in the case of our Joanna de Angelis here, some of her existences are known, and in fact, they contribute to us understanding her deep wisdom and teachings. Joanna, is also very known and associated with a rich spiritual history that has led her to her role that is widely recognized as a guide and spiritual teacher of the well known Brazilian medium Divaldo Pereira Franco. As his spirit guide, Joanna has communicated to us through his mediumship and through this quite beautiful partnership. Joanna has offered insights on spiritual growth, the importance of love, the process of healing both physically, emotionally, and spiritually. The impact of this partnership to me is not insignificant, and they both brought a quite large number of books that address various aspects of life, spirituality, and the human experience. Joanna's teachings, delivered through Divaldo, emphasize again the importance of love, the importance of self knowledge, the importance of forgiveness, and that invitation for a meaningful experience. And I have to say, this beautiful collaboration has had a significant impact on many, many individuals who are seeking spiritual insight and healing, and that includes me. I consider Joanna a mentor, a guide to me as well. But let's just, before I move on and ask Jussara to talk a little bit about our program, I just wanted to tell you, if you don't know yet, a little bit about the psychology collection, because this program is based largely on those books that were written, and it is a set of 16 books that go really deeply into that intersection between psychology and spirituality. That set of books, unfortunately, first written in Portuguese, they are not completely available in English at the moment. But the books really are amazing because they provide such insight to all of us. To me, it's all about understanding our human behavior through that spiritual lens, that psychological lens. Um, as I said, there are 16 books. The books in English available to you are Jesus in Our Days, Plenitude, Times of Health and Consciousness, The Conscious Being, Self Discovery and Inner Search, Wake Up and Be Happy, Life, Challenges and Solutions, Existential Conflicts, my personal favorite, and one that everybody should have. I mean, all of our 8 billion plus people on this planet should read The Psychology of Gratitude. But this is it, as I said, they're more than those that we have an English title. But I stop here because I'd love to hear from Jussara. Jussara is the co-founder of this program along with Gelson Roberto and others, right, Jussara? But she was there from the very beginning, the very inception of the program. And I'd love for you, Jussara, to tell us how did it all begin and how we're here today celebrating 100 episodes together.
Yes, so before anything else, hello, Marcia. Hello, Anahy. Uh, Sometimes, we try to make sense out of things, and we don't. We believe that we know how things happened, or that, we have planned and that we had a great idea and just started put things in place. But little do we know that there are is forces, energy, and the holy spirituality that it's actually guiding us in this process. In my own process of spirituality, I've been for since my childhood studying so much and trying to learn so much, trying to make sense of life, and about this little life here that represents me, Jussara, myself, the whole package with good emotions, bad emotions, good deeds, bad deeds, things that I'm ashamed of, and things that I'm very proud of. And of course, it comes to a point in time when you are in your search for spirituality, that you understand that the best way for you to go through this track is to look at yourself, to try to understand yourself, and to try to uh, uh, from this beginning and perspective, to find ways how you can start better understanding what you are, and continuing this pursuit of self-improvement. And inevitably, we cannot go through this process unless we go through Joanna de Angelis. And why do I say Joanna de Angelis? Are we skipping all the ancestors that we had? Are we skipping Jesus and the moral laws and things that and Kardec, things that pertain more to spiritism? Not really, because everything that she touches and all her perspective come from this initial point, and the point that where we are going to learn finally to behave as Jesus would say, as my true disciples. And my true disciples are going to be known for loving one another. And then there is a catch that Jesus says, loving one another as I loved you, which makes the whole difference here. It's not from our understanding, it's from an understanding of a spirit that is working in self improvement. So we come to Joanna de Angelis, and she basically is, as opposed to what so many people say, she comes and complicates things. I think that for me, she is, that piece of the puzzle that make everything completed. And now I understand what is the image, because there was this piece missing, which is exactly what she brings. Maybe, yeah, she uses a more elaborate kind of language, but she brings all those pieces that were missing in terms of giving us guidance, how to do the work, from where to begin, and like you said, the whole literature. So it's been in the back of my mind for so many years, this idea of getting deeper into this knowledge, and having been in contact with this purpose also, that is a purpose of Brazil, international, for us to study and to go deep into the studies, from this perspective of understanding, not because we wanted to become psychologists or graduate in another subject, but because we want to graduate in the school of spirituality and emotions. And so I wanted I had this idea of putting together, a group of people that would be dedicating to do that. Okay, the idea came and years passed, and how are we going to do that? Because, there was a challenge. We wanted to do that also in the English language. And like you said, we don't even have all the books yet translated, or although we have enough, and we have the material and people that could be working with, in this bilingual situation. So the opportunity presented itself in one encounter that we have with some of the members that we are here today, and all of a sudden, that idea that comes to your mind, there is no better time than the right than the than this time, than the actual time. So we sat together, and all of a sudden, maybe that person would be good for us to have it as well. And out of nowhere, we started thinking about people, like it was your case, Marcia, and then Anahy, that was also, invited to come join this participation, and then Anne Sinclair, and then other members, and Fabricio and Gelson, and everyone, when we started first talking about it. And this is how the idea happened. At first, we were, of course, just an idea, thinking very small. Okay, we will do that, podcast once a month, and that's it, within our possibilities. And little did we know that the plans were not exactly that. And so we looked for partners, especially for the dissemination, because you see, sometimes it's not as hard to do things, but to make it reach people. And this is the reason why we are doing that. We are not doing that for us. We are doing that because this is something that has been helping, healing us, and help us in this journey. and we wanted to share with others. So in order to share, we had to find people, other talents that could aggregate the ones that would be, putting together this beautiful template where Joanna de Angelis' eyes keeps on looking at us. We got a musician, Ricardo Romaneiro, that made this special little song, is made by a great musician, recognized musician, that he made it exclusively for Joanna de Angelis. And then we talked to the partners that would be the ones that would be, transmitting the podcast and helping us in putting all together, and Adriane that it started all the designers and everything, and Daniel Santos that start put together the all the podcasts at Spotify, and then Mansão do Caminho, where we could be weekly hearing there. That was where the bad news came, and they said, okay, let's do it. We are so excited about doing it. So you guys are going to be sending us a weekly program. And I said, wait a minute. You said weekly. We were talking about monthly. And he said, well, the only way that we can do that is weekly program. And then we talked with each other and said, we can do it. And we have been doing that for 100 programs, and it has been amazing. And it has been a re-encounter of souls, because that thing that that prayer from Francis of Assisi, that is, he said that it's in giving that you receive. And I myself can say I have been receiving so much, not only from all the, use of the time that we have to do to prepare and to be really worthy of, disseminating this work and coming here and talk on behalf of Joanna de Angelis and Divaldo Franco. But, everything that we've been gathering, and I mean, the friendships, that the partnership and the love that has been developed among ourselves, again, re-encounter of souls. And so I feel very, very blessed and thankful to all of you guys and everyone that has been enjoying being with us here each and every week, and above all, this noble spirit that is Joanna de Angelis.
Jussara, I know that I can hear the excitement in your voice, given the little bit of the history of us coming together for the podcast. But would like maybe for you to give a little bit to talk about Joanna de Angelis, I mentioned, has had many known incarnations, and there's one in particular that I thought you may be able to talk a little bit about it or touch upon it, who is Joanna de Cusa. Can you talk about her?
Yeah, and that's particularly interesting, Marcia, because I think we can mirror ourselves in her. And I'm going to explain why. First, talking a little bit about her being, this woman from society, married from with a general of Roman. Or working with a Roman general, her husband would be have a very good position in the Roman court, and she lived, with the benefits of someone that worked for the Roman court, like her husband, and but she wasn't happy, and she was missing something, and thankfully for her, she lived at the time of Jesus, and she had the chance of hearing Jesus talking. And for some of us, unfortunately, I don't know how we were not so deeply touched like she was, but she was, and she was ready. And from that moment on, she had a different purpose in her life, and that different purpose in her life was to try to fulfill uh, her mission, or to perform her tasks in the best way that she thought, and that would be by being a direct follower of Jesus. um, and why am I comparing us to her at this point? It is because she comes to Jesus, and filled with this inner desire, right? I found my call, and this is what I want to do. And I don't want to be related with, human life, or, the day to day ordinary life anymore. And then Jesus says, no. And, it was hard for her to understand this no. Uh, it was hard for her to realize that in order for her to do something and to fulfill her commitments, she couldn't be closer to that source of light, love, light, and enlightenment. And, but even when he said no, he explained to her that her call and her commitment was in with the family, with what she was going to be doing and providing from that point on. And he tells her, be faithful, regardless. You have to, make flowers grow wherever you are. You put the seed in the garden and it's going to grow. and and sometimes, I think that when we were thinking about this work that we are doing and the way we started, I think that in a way, what is similar, we feel very small, but we want to be close to the source of light. But we realize that we don't have that much to offer. And at the same time, we may think, well, maybe, even if I offer just a few seeds, that's okay. It doesn't work. It doesn't matter. Because we don't make a sense of the importance of flowering, of promoting goodness with the tools that we have. And I don't know if I could make myself clear here in terms of making this connection, but when he said to her, I don't need you to follow me or to be a direct disciple for you to do something and to accomplish something that is going to be important. Go and work, toil in your own soil, even if it doesn't seem important now, that much important now, but things are going to be coming about from it. Like we know that happened after. She continued always promoting and helping in any way that she could, the work of Jesus and the disciples, and trying to favoring them in terms of the Roman laws, and bringing, and he said, dedicate to the husband, you have to rescue him. And then she would have children that she had to rescue as well. And when finally her husband died and she could be more open, and unfortunately at the end of her days she would be recognized as Christian together with her child and be condemned to the circus. And
Mhm.
she was still able at the last second of her life to make a huge impact on the life of someone that, although at the moment that torturer was despising her and condemning her to be so deaf to the cries of her child, that were saying, please mom, say no, refuse Jesus so you can save me. And not understanding, the values of spiritual life, that torturer comes to her and say, this man only taught you to die. And she says, no, he taught me to love. And so she shows that the ultimate sacrifice is out of love. And I think that is a life that is so important, and that already set the tones of what this spirit would become along the way, the resilience, the faithfulness, because Jesus said, be faithful, and remember that regardless where you are, you can be contributing. And I think that what we trying to do here in our own possibilities is exactly that. We were called, and it may have not have seen that much at the beginning, but at the same time now we look at this garden, we look how much is being flowering,
Yes.
flowering, and it's being a joy. And I think that for each one of us, there is participating and allowing this conversation, this enticing conversations that we have, and everything that you bring, Marcia and Anahy, with her expertise that makes us, oh gosh, be capable to do so much more and continue in this work of resilience and personal growth.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you, Jussara. Joanna de Angelis is really a force that touches all of us. And in her life, as Joanna de Cusa also brought that, just like you said, let's us all understand and go through the journey of self-awareness, self-discovery, and acceptance of where we are and be closer to the source. And with that, I think I'm gonna, if you don't mind, Jussara, flip it to Anahy, because I think what you're talking is all about the sacred in all of us. And I was going to ask you, Anahy, can you talk a little bit about the numinous and the sacred, and how can we all tie together in this discussion about Joanna de Angelis?
So, first of all, hello everyone, and it's so great to be here with you again. And as I was listening to you guys, one of the things that I realized is that we are giving the example with the podcast. It's not only informing or having a conversation that can be inspiring, but also something that these times that we are living in are asking us to do. Giving the example, as Marcia has asked me, how do we do that? How do we connect to the sacred? We are doing that right now, because it doesn't matter where people are, when they are going to be listening, because what Joanna is asking us, and I was listening to what Jussara was talking about, Joanna of Cus, right? Her incarnation in the time of Jesus, and what Jesus tells her, that no, she cannot follow him at that point, because as Jussara so well have put it, because her task was with the family. So Joanna's proposal, she's like, we are in the middle of a storm, right? At these days that we are living in, but we know that we are transitioning to a higher level of consciousness, different spiritual traditions, from all over the globe. And we have Kardec, right, with in the 19th century, telling us that the time is now and was happening already, that we are evolving in consciousness, and that everything that Jesus actually prepared us and other light beings and masters, but of course with Jesus putting everything together for us 2,000 years ago and more, was to prepare us for this moment. As Joanna, in her beautiful book, one of her beautiful books, because we have lots of them, as Marcia was talking about, the awakening of the spirit. So the awakening of the spirit is now, and it has already started, like let's say with Jesus 2,000 years ago, bringing all the beautiful. I always say it's the best psychological book that I know, and spiritual book, of course. But as I'm a psychiatrist and a Jungian analyst, I'm looking from this point of view. Everything is there. Everything is there. It's just the way that we have to evolve and study and reflect upon, so that we can understand what Jesus told us, that it's the path to what Joanna asks us to do, self-discovery, right? Understanding ourselves and expanding our consciousness towards actually God, or the transcendent, or the unity. Doesn't matter the way that people call this intelligence, but it's not only intelligence, the loving creative force of the universe that also created us, of course. So what I was thinking, Marcia, is that, and Jussara, that we are giving the example because Joanna brought us together. We didn't know each other previously, right? And there was a calling. So of course people could say, oh, it was an external calling, but it's not. The ego, our consciousness, and the personality, just thinks that, okay, because this and that happened, that we are here in the 100th episode of our podcast, right, with everybody. And thanks so much, everybody who has been listening to the podcast. This is very important, and talking about and referring to other people, right? Because as Jussara said, it's not us. We are only doing the best we can. We cannot do more than that. But to face these times, we just have, as a wonderful teacher that I have also heard in a podcast says, be the best version of ourselves, right? So Joanna is doing that, asking us to do this, to be, and of course she's in psychological terms and spiritual terms, she is trying to help us better understand the teachings of Jesus. And of course, so what happens is that when we are here together and we open ourselves, but only, of course, as Jussara said, we study, we prepare ourselves, but we also pray, and we also try to contact, right, with through meditation and understanding that we are spiritual beings, so we need to vibrate in a certain way to be able to connect and to be open to intuitions and insights that we know that are coming through us, right? It's of course we are trying to be good instruments of those insights and teachings, but it's not us. It's they are coming through us, and by Joanna and mentors and different other friends from spiritual realms. And this happens not only with us, with anyone, that it's open, because we are in this deep dimension of the psyche, of our souls, that connects all of us from the depth psychology point of view that we call the transcendent dimension of the psyche, deep in our unconscious, that it's where we could say the spiritual dimension, where from where all religious experience come from, right, in psychological terms, and emerge from the depths of our unconscious. So we know that when we are open to that, not only with our minds, but with our hearts, we are going to be in contact with the sacred. And we are going to have what we call, Jung called, and Joanna refers to also, a numinous experience. So it's the direct contact with the sacred. I can explain a little bit better in a moment, but I wanted to say that this experience of being here and with friends, as Jussara said, that it's a meeting of souls, right? And we can feel the vibration and the joy and the love of being together, talking about Joanna's teachings, Jesus' teachings, about what we discover within ourselves with her proposal of self-analysis, right? Looking to our depths and finding everything that we are, our truth, our spiritual being, our higher consciousness. So I think this is the experience. And of course, when we are talking to each other, we are, of course, the ego is doing the job, right? To discern what I can talk or what I can't. But it's very symbolic, this 100 episodes, because we have been here sometimes more enthusiastically, sometimes saying things that we were inspired by, using movies and art and different examples. But we can't forget that the bottom line, the bottom of all, is our higher selves, our spiritual consciousness, what Jung called the self, capital S, that is we Jungian analysts use as a synonym of the imago Dei, the image of God. But of course, it's not God, it's not the transcendent one, but it is our understanding of God. Let's say our spiritual experience, what we have up to this point developed, but not only as individuals, because we are all interconnected in these deeper levels of the psyche that Jung called the collective unconscious. So there is where the religious experience happens. And it doesn't matter the culture, the age, the gender, whatever. It doesn't matter even the historical time that we are living. Everything that we have experienced, every image of God and our goddesses, every religious experience that anyone has ever, as humanity, experienced, everything is in the collective unconscious. So we share as a humanity. And this understanding, when we can live as we are living here now, and have all this symbol of the 100th episode, right? Number 1, that is unity, with 2 zeros that are expanding the number, right? So we are giving the example that, of course, the ego suffers. Am I doing something okay? Is Joanna saying that it's okay? Am I doing something that it's not so good today? Will people like or not? That's all ego, people. But when we are here studying, reading her books, her teachings talking about that, trying to connect with our day-by-day experience, right? And trying to think of, okay, what else can I do? As Jesus says to Joanna de Angelis, no, don't follow me as she wanted. I would want to let me go, you know. But he understand, he just looked at us, and he knew our past, present, and future spiritually. And he knew what she in her personality at that point couldn't understand, because he was talking also to her higher self, right? He knew where that beautiful spirit would have to learn, or haven't had even proposed to learn in that incarnation. And in the end, as Jussara said, when she is burning to the stake, right, Jussara, and she is sacrificing, and in the eyes of the, you know, that those ignorant, still like children, spiritually speaking, in the circles, the Roman circles, that I'm following him now. I have done my learning in this life, and the most important learning is how to love. He taught me how to love. So we are here 2,000 years trying to do the same as Joanna de Angelis started, let's say, or developed better or faster in that incarnation, that to learn how to love, to sacrifice our egos, in a sense, our understanding of only this material reality, even our bodies, not trying to learn not to be afraid of diseases, illnesses, death, and all of that. This because then we understand with our higher selves, and the ego is learning to listen to the higher self, even in this incarnation. So that's the awakening of spirit, from death psychology point of view, that the ego really understand that the sacred lives inside of us. Jesus knew that, and he was showing us the way to this light that is within ourselves, not outside of ourselves. The connection to the transcendent one, to God, as Spiritist knowledge teaches, it's not outside of us. In temples, okay, I can go. It helps me to meditate, to prayer, whatever people's religion. But if I understand that it's just altering of a state of mind, calming the ego, so through meditation, prayers, so that I can really talk to the sacred, that it's, and this conversation is inside, has to happen inside of myself, not outside of myself. So that's why Joanna, and as at first I was a Freudian, and I found the Jung, actually Jung was for me just an instrument, a tool to understand Joanna, actually. So I can say that my degree as Jungian analyst, I owe to Joanna, and ultimately I owe to, of course, to Jesus, because I started wanting to be a therapist of the soul, as I told you at some point, when I was 12 years old. It was very romantic or whatever. I didn't know what I was saying in my ego, but the self already knew the way, the path. So all of this we learn with Joanna. And the main purpose of our podcast, as Jussara said, because the first time we looked at each other, we recognized ourselves, right, girls, with as sisters. We could have been brothers, whatever, because it doesn't matter spiritually speaking. but as sisters, as souls that find each other and find, because this beautiful mother, spiritual mother, we could say, this sacred force that Joanna brings within her as a spiritual teacher that appears in the moment as a feminine force of the spirit, called us, right? And really put us together. So this is the example. It's not outside of us, it's inside of us.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm taken by all the words brought to us today, right? As we celebrate 100 episodes together, but also understanding the sacred, right? And how Joanna de Angelis has been truly not just a bridge between spirituality and depth psychology, but a bridge among ourselves, among all of us as we get together and we learn a little bit more. We are at time, and I wanted to ask you, Jussara, maybe, I don't know, what came to my mind was maybe you want to share something, especially the bond that you have with Divaldo Pereira Franco and how he is the instrument and partner to bring Joanna de Angelis to us, if you have anything that you want to share with everyone else.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking that I would like to personally um, demonstrate our gratitude to him, because of course we always thinking about the spirit that brought the knowledge, that brought the essence that is so important. But we forget that we often forget that in this process of being a good receptor in terms
Yes.
of mediumship, it requires someone very committed, very disciplined, and I mean, considering the how profound and complex her teachings is, um, it has to be someone that would be basically at the same level. And so I think it's so much gratitude that we have the computation and the commitment of these two spirits, one and this side of life, the other one, that is, just as a spirit without a corporeal body, and understanding how much she's close to us, and in all our conversation with him, how much he showed this appreciation of all the work that we are doing, and really opened the channels for us to be able to do with to go on with dissemination, because he knows the importance, and he knows that now as a humanity we are so much in need of care and shelter and love for our souls. We are hurtful souls here, kind of feeling lost, but there is a motherly figure that is Joanna de Angelis that is also taking care of us and saying, I do understand your anguish. I do understand your, disturbing emotions and anxieties and pain, but there is a solution. Just calm down, come with us, following this path, be patient with yourself, and trust you, and be faithful to the end, like what she heard from Jesus. So let us be faithful. We are in this path, and I think that's the great message that we can gather from this commitment, from both from Divaldo and for herself. And we know with the communion of spirits, of noble spirits and scholar spirits that have been working in this path, in this journey from the
Mhm.
beginnings of times, from ancient Greece, asking us to pay attention and know thyself. You really need that.
And
Oh,
I
this was
end, girls, with
yes.
one sentence by Joanna.
Uh-huh.
My final words will not be mine, will be Joanna in The Awakening of the Spirit, the book. Look
Hmm.
what she says. The human being is destined for the stars, self-illuminating with the splendor of wisdom, love, and knowledge, in order to achieve the goal for which she was created, perfection. This is not a religious fantasy or a false premise with an illusory character, which the sun of reality would immediately dispel, but of a right that is granted by existential fatality itself.
Ah,
This
beautiful,
is, yeah.
beautiful message. And as we have come to an end, I just want to invite all of you to stay connected for the next 100 episodes as we learn and we share some of those teachings that Joanna de Angelis brought to us. And wanted to say thank you for being here. It is all about this confirmation of the expression, the manifestation of love, sensibility, the feminine expression, right? The power of love, indeed. And I want to say, Joanna's teachings, as Jussara mentioned, delivered through the discipline and commitment of Divaldo Pereira Franco, really it's all about that, the power of love, the power of knowing thyself, the self knowledge, and to all of us the invitation to truly live a meaningful life. I wanted to say, if this is, for whatever reason, the first time you are with us today, please note that our weekly talks are indeed a discussion based on the works by Joanna de Angelis. And we hope you were able to perhaps take some nuggets of knowledge and awareness with our conversations today. We want to also thank all of our sponsors, Mansão do Caminho, the United States Spiritus Federation, the International Spiritus Council, and AMI Brazil. AMI Brazil is the Brazilian arm of the Medical Spiritists Association. Hope to have you back during our next episode. So long.
Bye bye. So long.